Hi, my name's Neil, and in this video we're going to look at some quality Swedish axes. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to the channel, in this particular episode I'm going to start with a question, and that question is, what's the difference between these two knives? This one, handmade custom knife made by a craftsman. This one, a more classic, churned out in a factory. The materials are similar, they've both got wooden handles, they've both got metal blades, they've both in fact got Scandi grinds. The other question is, well, what is the difference in what I can do with these knives? And the answer is virtually none. This knife makes me no better than using this knife. Some would say it's actually down to the skill of the user. It shouldn't make any difference what knife I'm using, whether I'm using the one that's handmade by a craftsman or the one that's been churned out in a factory. And so it is with many things in bushcraft, and today we're going to look at just one of those things. Today we're going to look at axes, and in particular we're going to look at Hults Bruk axes. Now, the market leader in bushcraft axes, I suppose it's the industry standard, is one of these. And this is the Hults Bruk small forest axe, made famous by various bushcraft experts on the television, and this seems to be the axe that everybody wants. This one is made in a factory in Sweden. Each head is handmade by a craftsman, and he will stamp his initials into each axe head as he finishes it. But Hults Bruk isn't the only axe manufacturer in the world. In fact, they're not even the only axe manufacturer in Sweden. Hults Bruk is also a Swedish axe maker, and they've been making axes for well over 300 years. They produce axes that are very similar to the Hults Bruk. Indeed, they do produce one that is almost identical to the small forest axe, and that's one of their classic trekking range, the hunter's axe, and it is virtually identical. The difference is, with these you now pay a premium for them. I did a little bit of research on the internet, and some companies are charging £100 for one of these. The hunter's axe made by Hults Bruk, or HULTAFORS as they're called in the UK, comes in between £50 and £60. So that's quite a lot of a saving, a big difference in cost between what is essentially a very, very similar axe. We're not going to look at the classic trekking range from Hults Bruk. The ones we're going to look at is 4 axes, 3 of them from their trekking range, just their basic trekking range, and also one of their chopping axes. Now, these axes, a bit like the more classic, which is a robust workman-like knife, they don't cost a great deal, and you will find them in use by tradesmen all over the world every day. And these particular Hults Bruk axes are just the same. They're perhaps not finished quite as well, the heads are mass produced, but they are very, very good tools. They're also, because they're a workman's tool, you're not paying a premium price for them. In fact, you're paying a quarter of the price that you would pay for the Hults Bruk small forest axe in some cases. I first found out about HULTAFORS or Hults Bruk axes a few years ago. My brother, who similarly works in the woods the same as I do, and he tends to be out for blocks of weeks at a time, and so he processes quite a lot of firewood while he's out. He had been using a lighter axe, something a bit like one of these, and because it's lighter, it was that bit harder work. And so he was looking around for something that was a bit more economic, perhaps a little bit heavier, and he came across the HULTS BRUK axes. He showed them to me, and he gifted me one of their axes, and that was basically for me running my wood burner, where I need a fairly shortish axe with a fairly heavy head that I can use for splitting all manner of wood. And that was how I first found out about the HULTS BRUK axes. Since then, I've looked more into the rest of their range and the type of axes that they produce. So we'll start off with the smallest of the HULTS BRUK axes that I have, and that's this one. And this is their Trekking Axe Mini H006. It's got a 600 gram head, so about a pound, and a 38 centimetre handle. The overall length is 38 centimetres. It's 32 centimetre handle. The 1 pound head on it, it's quite a heavy head for an axe of this size. Makes it a very good all-rounder, and for splitting firewood, making kindling, etc. It's absolutely brilliant. And certainly when you first get it, it will come with the axe mask on it, and the edge is adequate. I've slightly reprofiled this one because I tend to use this one as a bit of a crafting axe. It's not really your classic crafting axe shape, however I find it very, very effective indeed. This was the axe I used to make my little cook scuttle, and I found it absolutely brilliant. A really, really good quality item. Cost wise, you can pick these up for about sort of between 20 and 25 pounds. Outstanding value, really, really good. When you first get it, the handle is a little bit rough. I sanded this one down and gave it a little bit of a wipe over with some more linseed oil, and as I said, I've reprofiled the edge, and it's a lovely, lovely little axe. The next one, and this is the original one that I was given, that I was using for splitting wood for my wood burner, and I learnt very quickly that it was capable of so much more. This one is the HULTS BRUK Trekking Axe Mini H008, and this one has an 800 gram head. The handle on it, I find, it's that little bit longer. I'll just check my details. The handle on this one, 38 centimetres, and it's a really, really good length of handles. Indeed, this one it can even be pressed into use with 2 hands. The 800 gram head on it, well, that's a bit of a beast. You can use it for taking down small trees. It's excellent for splitting wood. The small forest axe, if you get something that's a bit knotty, it can be hard work. With this, not at all. This one really, really will cleave through things. Absolutely excellent. Absolutely love this axe. The profile on the edge when you first get it needs a little bit of work, but it is adequate. You know, if you're not great at sharpening, it's good enough for splitting when you first get it. If you want to take it on a bit further, if you want to do a bit of crafting work with it, then it's relatively easy to change the profile and just touch up that edge a little bit. The mask that's on this one, it's not the standard one. This is one that was made up for me by my brother, strangely enough. And as I said, HULTAFORS HULTS BRUK Trekking Mini H008. Great little axe. We now come on to what's rapidly become one of my favourite axes, full stop. And this is the HULTS BRUK Trekking Axe H009. This one's got a 900 gram head on it. The handle length is about 19 inches. Indeed, size-wise, it's about the same size as our small forest axe. The difference with this one is the 900 gram head. It's a very capable axe in a very compact package. Size-wise, easily fits down the side of a day sack. It's just shorter than an armpit to finger length in length, so it's a bit of a boy's axe, but this head at 900 grams really does make it a bit of a beast. And this one I've used for felling some quite reasonable sized trees, and indeed for limbing, etc. afterwards. And this is a really, really good axe. This one, when I'm working out in the woods, tends to be the one that I will use most often. This is what I reach for. It gets chucked in the back of my vehicle, thrown in the back of my rucksack before I go off to the woods. And particularly in the winter, when I'm processing a lot of firewood, 900 gram head, absolutely ideal for splitting. Again, very, very workmanlike when you get it. The heads on all of these are cast, they're not forged, and quite rough, the handle, when I first got it. Not excessively so, but again, a little bit of work with a couple of grades of sandpaper, another coat of linseed oil, and you've got a superb axe. These ones I looked online, anywhere between 30-35 pounds, which is amazing value when you consider that something the same size, handmade by somebody in Sweden, is costing us £100. The last of the axes that I'm going to look at is what they call their chopping axe, and this one is the 850 gram Hults Bruk chopping axe. 850 gram head, the handle length 59.1 centimeters, and it's armpit to fingertip length. I think in Mors Kahansky's bushcraft, that's the size that he recommends for the ideal axe, and this is a very, very capable axe. If I've got to go and take a tree down, or if I've got to limb a tree, because of the length of the handle, the weight of the head, the blade profile, etc., this is what I go for. And this is a great axe. Again, it won't cost you more than £40. They are absolutely superb. A little bit of work on the outside, sand the handle down as with the others, and it's really, really good. The only other thing that I've used that compares with it size wise and weight wise is the Scandinavian forest axe made by HULTS Bruk, and this compares with it very, very well, and as I say, value for money wise, you certainly won't go far wrong. So just to summarise, get out there, take a look at some of these Hults Bruk or HULTAFORS axes. They really, really are excellent value for money, well made, very workmanlike tools. Yes, they're not what the guys on the TV use. Does that matter? In my opinion, no. Okay, these are quality items that will do the job, and they'll do the job very, very well. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, then remember, hit that like button. Also, share our page, share our videos out. Let people know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay safe.